Tight ends went as well, and then some other position groups. There was a couple guys from defense that went as well. So it sounded like it was important to get on the same page football-wise and do some stuff like that. But I think what I heard, the feedback I got, was probably most important just to get around each other in a different environment and just enjoy each other and get to know each other on a personal level, which is huge. As we all know, that's huge for any team or any unit. So that was good. A lot of positive feedback.
What stood out to you about Caleb Brown so far?
Caleb's done a really good job. I was just telling him I apologize, I missed the first question, but he's done a really good job of just his transition has been really seamless. Sometimes you're concerned with a young man coming from a different four-year institution and then coming into our place is how well is he going to handle the change of expectations, the standards, how we do things and like that. And Caleb has done a really good job of just handling that. So if I'm being honest, that's the most impressive thing I've seen about Caleb. Obviously, his athletic ability and his skills, we plan on helping us a lot in the receiver room and on offense and even on special teams. But if I had to pick out one thing that I'm most impressed with, it'd be his transition, just being interpersonal with the guys in the room, with the guys on the team, in the weight room. I just heard a lot of positive feedback from everybody involved, and I would say the same thing about Seth Anderson as well.
And then with Caleb coming from a place where he had a really well-respected wide receiver coach, is that a difference maker when you have somebody coming in and you know that they've been probably coached well before?
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge is, whether it's at a place like Ohio State or wherever else, there's going to be different standards, there's going to be different techniques, fundamentals that are being taught to fit their system, right? So when you come into a different system, no matter if it's Iowa or where I played in Four-Year State, that position coach, whether it be a receivers coach, quarterbacks coach, O-line coach, he may have a different style of teaching, number one, and then number two, most importantly, is what fits that system. So sometimes it's not just about the talent of the coach or how he's teaching it, it's what he's actually teaching, and that's what I've been most impressed with Caleb. Is obviously we run a little bit different style of offense, and the expectations and the fundamentals, the techniques, all that kind of stuff are going to be different, and he just come in with open arms and big ears, literally like listening to everything I say and taking a lot of notes, which is really positive to see. Some guys come in, they think they know it all, or my old coach said this, so that's how I'm going to do it, and that has not been the case at all.
Do you like him more out wide or in the slot? He played a lot in the slot before, but
right now we have him playing pretty much all over, trying to narrow things down for him so he can really hone in on his skills and where we see him fitting best. But we played him all over. We played him outside, we played him inside in the slot, and then again another piece of it is the special teams piece, which we made a personal challenge in our room to make sure that we're contributing in all phases of the game. So that's one thing that we need to be better at, in my opinion, not just being the returner, whether it be kickoff return or punt return, but just contributing in all phases, offensively and special teams. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see him playing a couple different spots, not only on offense, but hopefully on special teams as well.
If you could comment a little bit about the addition of Cade McNamara at the quarterback position.
Absolutely. I think all the additions with Deacon and Cade, they've brought they brought some energy and some juice, and that's what it's all about. As we all know, it starts with the trigger man, the quarterback, the guy that's behind the center, and if they believe in that guy or those guys in that room, then it makes a lot of difference. So our guys are really confident, and I think that started with that California trip that they did. It became kind of a hot topic, I guess, with you guys. They're going out to California, but I think that's where it started. Got a lot of positive feedback. Like I said earlier, I wasn't cool enough to get invited to that. I don't think any coaches were. They see us kind of they need to go stay on the outside, which is a good thing. So they needed some team bonding, and it was good because it was more than just receivers and quarterbacks. There was tight ends there. I know some players from the other side of the ball were there as well. So it was good for some bonding and some leadership. Opportunities that came about out of it, and just them getting to know each other on a personal level.
Any of the freshmen jumping out early?
Yes. I would say there's a couple guys. I don't want to put too much pressure on anyone.
Give us some names. Come on.
But if I had to single some guys out right now through seven practices, a guy like Jared Bowie is really doing some really positive things. You never know what you're going to get with a first year guy, whether it be a transfer and especially a high school, a young man coming to high school. And Jared Bowie is doing some really positive things. He's just a young man that just nothing seems too big for him. is kind of the best way to describe Jared. You know, whether it's practice, the meeting room, walkthroughs, whatever, seems to always be locked in, and then it shows up on the practice tape. So looking for really, really good things out of him, and seeing if he can put himself in a position to hopefully get on a couple special teams and maybe even some offensive roles. And then another young man I would name is Dayton Howard. Out of Kansas City, that's doing a really good job. Really good job. You know, they're two different players, but they bring some size and length to our room which we need. You know, I kind of like, no offense to my shorter guys, but I kind of like walking in the room and looking up to some guys in my room, and both of those guys I look up to, especially Dayton. He's got a lot of length, a lot of size, and man, for somebody his size, he moves really well, really fluid. You know, somebody who's 6'4", 6'5". So those two guys, I would say for sure, are doing really well. But the whole group, especially the freshman group, they're doing a good job of making that transition from high school to college.
What's the challenge as a position coach of, like, you got kind of like half a new room this year. There's a lot of new faces came in during winter, but also now. What is the challenge for you, and how much do you lean on, like, Nico and you know, guys like him or Deontay to kind of help you bring the group along?
I'll start with the opposite end. I'll start at the back end of that question and work my way backwards. So Nico and Deontay, you hit it right on the head. I lean on them a lot. You know, Nico's a guy that I trust. You know, we've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
I was joking with him on the field the first practice. You know, I only have 11 months on him in this program. That's all. I've been here 11 months longer than he has, which is crazy to think about, because I feel like I've been here half a lifetime. I'm very blessed to be here. And Deontay is doing a really good job too. Deontay is taking it upon himself to take these opportunities to show his maturity. Not only physically, but more importantly from a leadership and social standpoint. So Deontay is doing a really good job. And then, you know, the piece about, you know, a lot of new faces in my room, I don't necessarily see that as a negative. I see it as a positive. It's an opportunity to start fresh with new faces and new expectations, and, you know, everybody has a standard for themselves, and we're all trying to raise that standard. So, you know, I don't see the new faces as a negative. You know, whoever chose to leave, that's their business, and, you know, my job is to bring in the best product that's going to help Iowa football win, and I think we've done a pretty good job, and hopefully that's going to reflect September 2nd and moving forward.
When you were looking in the